Good morning, Celtic fans, and welcome to this morning's edition of the Celtic News. On the One Celtic Fans View YouTube channel, in this morning's video, we've got a lot to get through today. We're going to talk about James Forrest and how he could soon overtake Bobby Lennox. Wow, you never thought you would say that a few years ago. We're going to talk about Callum McGregor. We're going to talk about the latest on Celtic transfers, and there's been a bit of a development with regards to the goalkeeper. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But let's first of all talk about James and the fact that Bobby Lennox had 25 winners' medals throughout his career at Celtic. James Forrest is on 22. An important lesson that James can pass down to players, he said he wants to talk about the hunger that is required at Celtic to be able to go again and again. He says when you've been at Celtic as long as I have, it says you can obviously win the Premiership, you can win the title, you can win the league title, and you can toast those moments and you can party for them for one night at the end of the season, and then we go again. He says it can easily be forgotten. If you don't win one, or if you don't win two in a row, he says it's all forgotten. You know, he says, I think that the standards in training are really high at Celtic, and they have been ever since he came into the club as a young boy. He says, I've never seen them drop. Not here, not once. He said, I think that's really important that the players, the staff, and everyone involved at the club keep the standards high all the time. The fact that it was James's testimonial at the weekend, on Tuesday night, you know, it's one of the dying things in modern football is testimonials. Could Callum McGregor be the last Celtic player to get a testimonial at Celtic? Callum, when he sees out the end of his contract, it will be 18 years that he's been at the club. That's a fantastic length of time for anyone. I think that when he renewed that contract, and you know it was going to take him to be 18 years first team service at the club, that will trigger a testimonial. It'll be a long time before any other player is due a testimonial at Celtic. Even, you know, a testimonial might not even exist the time that anyone else manages to do it. We obviously have young players coming through, and James talks about the fact that there's players on the pitch that can give players advice, the likes of Bruni, and you know, he can advise younger players on the pitch, and there's players that can shout in the dressing room and help players with that. And then there's the likes of James Forrest and Callum McGregor that have went under the radar on social media and things, have stayed away from that type of thing. They've just got on with the day-to-day business of coming into training, being on time, and you know, just keeping your head down and working hard. When you think about all the big name players that have came to Celtic over the years that went on, you know, with fancy names like Edouard and you know, Jota, and they've been sold on for big money. And then there's only been the sort of one that's came through the ranks, and that's been Kieran Tierney that's sold on. But you have players that come through the system just now, like Ben Summers. We hope that he stays for a long time. He looks a fantastic prospect. If you look at young Vata, he looks as if he's going to be an exciting prospect also. And then in defence, the man-child tank in the making, Bosun Lawwell, he's another one, and that we hope we can keep at the club. Celtic have always had a tradition, and the fact that James Forrest has had 22 major trophies, you know, he's done something right over the years. And the fact that he could go on this season, if Celtic win the treble this season, he'll be up there the same legendary heights as the one and only Bobby Lennox. There's probably people choking on their breakfast right now with the fact that putting James Forrest and Bobby Lennox into the same bracket. I hope Celtic do treat James once he retires from football with the same respect that he did with Bobby Lennox. Bobby Lennox was around the club for years. Same with Danny McGrain. Danny McGrain was around the club for years. And I hope that they keep Forrest and Calmac at the club in some capacity in years to come. So it would be absolutely fantastic to keep them around. You have to keep Celtic people within the club. So let's move on to people that have just came into the club. In an attacking sense, it's goals this season. When you look at it, O has been at the club since Christmas. He was brought in as replacement for the Greek that left to go to America. When you look at the amount of goals that O scored compared to game time last season, coming off the bench and scoring the 7 goals was a good return. When you look at the minutes played, it's actually a good return from O. He had a good second half the other night. Will he be a player that will come on under Brendan Rodgers? Leila Bada looks to be a bit more happier at the club under Brendan Rodgers. Dyson Maida playing through the middle could be a complete revelation this year under Brendan Rodgers. The fact that Brendan can make players better is something that we don't seem to have happened as much under the previous manager. I mean, he was good at picking out players that could do a trick for him, but the fact that he wasn't on the training pitch every day and sort of pushing these players to improve might have been his downfall at Celtic. And we'll never take away what Aarons did to the club. He'll always be a Celtic legend. But we're in the future now, and Brendan Rodgers is absolutely clinical at changing teams and changing formations and making players better. He's done that over his career. Could Celtic be on the cusp of something completely amazing with some players that are already at the club? Could the likes of Turnbull be ready to change his career completely? Tell me in the comments. And we'll get on to the big question mark of transfers, Celtic transfers now. And Celtic transfers, it looks like the one and only Brazilian. Now, we're going to talk about a Brazilian. I can tell you about a Brazilian that I seen at Celtic years ago that looked absolutely brilliant pre-season in one game. But then he went on to be absolutely Rafael Shadit. So, be careful what you wish for when you're talking about big signings and marquee signings. It looks like any deal to bring Tete to Glasgow won't happen. You've got to remember that Brendan did take him to Leicester, and let's face it, he only had really one good game at Leicester, so maybe that's the reason that Brendan he had a cracking first game. And then you've got to remember Leicester, he was brought in to try and help Leicester from the drop, and obviously they got relegated and Brendan got sacked. So it doesn't look like he'll be one that will come to Celtic. The journalist Mark Hendry has he's shot down a number of transfer links in recent months, and he's now suggesting that Tete will not be arriving in Glasgow this summer. Brendan Rodgers has also suggested that Celtic will not make any signings this week. They will not make any more signings before the opening of the football season, which is obviously this Saturday against Ross County. On Friday evening, we will be doing a live at 6 p.m. And as the season goes on, the lives will change. We'll have a poll in the community tab. So if you click on the home page for this channel, and then you scroll along the top and you'll see community tab. You click on community tab and you'll see that poll that's currently running. So the goalkeeping situation as it stands at the moment, Livakovic hasn't went to Fenerbahce like it was proposed. That was a bit of a blow at the time, but the marquee signing that we're all expecting could be the 28-year-old goalkeeper. If Celtic can get this transfer over the line, there's a lot of people keep talking about it, and there's no smoke without fire. Even the guy Jones at Give Me Sport has been talking about it, and he said, I keep hearing about the goalkeeper situation too. It could be something to look out for. He's been pretty heavily linked with Celtic, so there is basically no smoke without fire. Could be one that Celtic are working on in the background. And, you know, Brendan Rodgers using two different keepers the other evening to see how good they were against a cracking opposition and a good Spanish side. You know, and were they up to that? You know, tell me in the comments what you think. So on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world. There is Thursday, so there won't be a live tonight. There will be a live tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. You'll get your Celtic news, any update later on this afternoon, and then there'll also be the Celtic news tomorrow morning. And then it is on to Saturday. Saturday's game day. That's it. We're all back. There'll be the Celtic news first thing in the morning, and then there'll probably be a reaction from Paddy's Point. I will be down at Paddy's Point for that game, and we'll have a reaction video for after that. So have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up.